Hi there. Welcome to week 8. Can you believe it? We are finally there. You made it all the way to the end. Yay! So here we are. I just wanted to do a quick overview for this week because there's a few things that you have due. But before I get started, I wanted to answer a few questions that you asked at the beginning of the semester. So one was, what is your favorite vacation spot? And I would say any place that has water. I like to be in, near, on water in some capacity. And then another one was, what is one thing you love about your students in this class? And I have never gotten a question like that, so I'm super excited that somebody asked me that. I love um, I love watching students' thought processes and beliefs about disability shift from the beginning of the semester to the end of the semester. And so a lot of times in the assignments that you're doing and in the reflections that you do, you talk about like how your perceptions or your beliefs have shifted. And I especially like when, and I know I require you to ask your friends and family questions, but I really like it when students share the things that, like when they talk about the topic outside of class, like that really, I really enjoy that. So I would say, I love the creativity of students in this class too. So I try to give you different ways for you to demonstrate your learning. And I learn so much about all of you in the ways that you do things. So um, those are some, that was a really good question. And then what made you teach this class? Well, I built the class and I also built the Disability Studies and Community Inclusion minor with Shay Dawson. And I teach this class because one, I'm a disabled woman, two, because disability should matter to everyone, and three, because I don't think we talk enough about disability in PK-12 classrooms. And so one way we can start to combat some of the stereotypes of disability is by teaching classes like this. So that's why I do that. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen because I want to talk you through a few things for this week. So scrolling down to our last, I'm kind of sad, sorry, our last module, which is inclusion and accessibility. So we open that up, and then in the module tasks and materials, I'll go over what's due this week. So this is kind of the culmination of the last 7 weeks. So you'll read our textbook, chapters 26 through 30, and then 34. And then there's another article, why hire someone with a developmental disability? So you'll read that. There is a short video, why design should include everyone. And for my interior design majors, you're going to like this one if you haven't seen it already. And then listen to one podcast, and there's 4 options for you. And then for the assignments that are due this week, one is a virtual bulletin board, which I'll show you in just a second. And that includes suggestions. Well, another assignment is suggestions for inclusion. There's your real disabilities final draft. I'm sorry it took me so long to get some of you feedback, but I was really trying to be thoughtful about it. And so you have all your feedback now. The final draft will be due at the end of this week. And then I extended your final exam due date until Sunday night. So the real disabilities final draft is due Friday because I need the weekend to read them. And then your final exam is due on Sunday night. So let's kind of dig into these assignments. So suggestions for inclusion. This assignment is where you're going to read 3 short scenarios below, and for each scenario, you're going to identify whether the barrier is institutional, attitudinal, or structural, and then share 2 suggestions for addressing the barrier that would promote authentic inclusion. So using all of the information that you've learned in this class, how would you address that particular barrier? And so you can copy and paste these into a Word document if you'd like. Or some people are going with that video submission. I'm good with that too. You can do a video response to each of these and then share your suggestions. So written or video, you could do it in PowerPoint. So it's open. Like the format for completing this is open. So that's one assignment for this week. And then you have the virtual bulletin board about access and inclusion. And so we'll take you to that bulletin board so you can see it. And so this is where you're going to kind of, instead of doing a blog, you're going to summarize 2 major points that you learned in each of the chapters from the textbook this week. So from chapter 26, what are two things you learned? What are two things you learned about hiring disabled people? Two things you learned about rethinking accommodations, and two things about getting civically engaged. And then I want you to do some responses to people that post if you can. If you can't, that's okay. But I kind of wanted this to be interactive, but I do know that you have a lot this week, especially if you're taking other online classes, you have a lot you're finishing up. So if you just get to post your own, that's fine. That will work. Okay. And my computer's working really slow today. Your real disabilities final draft, and then your final exam. I want to go through the final exam with you because a lot of you were panicking about it. There's no reason to panic. So for the final exam, there's 5 questions, and the 5 questions are directly connected to the course objectives. Okay, so, and I don't want this to be written. You're not submitting an essay exam. You're not submitting, I'm not doing it as it's just not written. I want to know what you're thinking, what you've learned, and I want you to just talk to me about it. And because I can't meet with each one of you individually, I want you to actually open your WebEx room like I am right now and record your responses. You can use your phone, however you normally or however you feel comfortable recording your responses is how I'd like you to do it. So the first point is to explain the different types of ableism and how they impact disabled and non-disabled people. So remember at the beginning of the semester, we talked about like there's casual ableism, institutional ableism, there's structural or systemic ableism. So thinking about those different types and how that type of ableism impacts non-disabled and disabled people. And then I want you to give an example of a specific education, employment, and healthcare policy or practice that is influenced by the medical model of disability. So thinking about what you know about the medical model. So maybe first explain that. What is the medical model? How do people who are oriented towards the medical model actually think about disability? And then give an example from education. So what is an education policy or practice that reflects the medical model? What's an employment practice that reflects the medical model? And what is a healthcare policy or practice that reflects that medical model? You're going to do the same thing for the charity model of disability. And then the 4th point is describe how stereotypes of disability impact people's attitudes towards disability. So there's specific disability stereotypes like disability as a burden, menace to society, wholly innocent, super crit. So talk about the different stereotypes and how they impact attitudes toward disability. And then the last thing is to share 2 things you plan to do to work on being anti-ableist in your personal and professional life. So those are the 5 things I want you to talk about in your video. So you could probably shoot for 2 minutes per question. There might be a question you want to spend a little bit more time on, but about 2 minutes per question. So we're talking 10 minutes minimum, I guess, would be 10 minutes. I don't have a time frame that you have to use, but I'm just thinking 10 minutes is probably going to get you that would give you enough time to really give the details that you need to answer these questions thoroughly. So, and then there is a final exam grading rubric that you can take a look at. I'll make sure that it's available to you if it's not already. So those are the things that you have to do this week. And so again, the real disabilities final draft is due Friday at midnight, and then the final exam you have until Sunday at midnight. So, and just don't forget to do the suggestions for inclusion and the virtual bulletin board. So you have 4 things to do this week. I'm sorry. But hopefully you'll find a few of them to be a little bit not stressful. They shouldn't be stressful. So if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I look forward to reading your final draft of your real disabilities. Those are so good. Really enjoyed them. But I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts about what you've learned in this class this semester. So, all right, if you have any questions, let me know.